Hello everyone, this is Heather Zabindin coming to you from my hallway. You should be hearing me, I hope. Looks like everything is working. So today we are on YouTube Live instead of Facebook Live because YouTube Live is a little bit more accessible for folks. It is something that everyone can access. Now, if you want to ask comments or questions, make comments, ask questions during the live broadcast, I guess it's a broadcast, then you need to sign into a YouTube account. Most people use their Gmail account, but you need to sign into a YouTube account so that you can access the live chat. And I'll be answering questions at the end. So this is Finding Family Facts, which is our twice monthly genealogy workshop. And normally we do this in person, but because of COVID-19, here we are virtual. And so I'm going to go kind of back to basics and show you what the library system has to offer for you to, to access virtually out there in your homes. And then we'll get to some questions. So let's get started. Okay, hang on, let me make sure I'm not echoing. Okay, this setup is a little bit different on YouTube than it was previously. So, okay. If you are out there, please let me know by putting information in the chat so that I can see that people are out there. I like to know if I've got an audience or not. Okay, so Finding Family Facts, like I said, is our twice a month program for genealogy. And it is the Roberts Library edition, which is at our downtown branch, Roberts Library, is on the second Monday of the month at 3:30. And so next Monday, the 13th at 3:30, we'll be doing that live here on Facebook. On YouTube. Well, on YouTube. And then we added this year an additional session each month at a branch. And so this was supposed to be the session for the Milam branch out in Perryville. So hopefully we've got some people in Perryville watching us today because we did want to come out and see you guys. But here we are in our houses. Okay. So, the Ask a Librarian or Genealogist, we're rolling this out this week. It won't start until tomorrow, April 10th. This is it's really any time, but particularly right now during the COVID-19 closure, we will be manning the phones at our branch Monday through Saturday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And here's the phone number. It's 501-320-5700, and that comes directly to the Roberts branch, and we can answer your genealogy and history related questions. Please be patient with us while we develop this new system. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. We're going to figure it out as we go, I think. But also you can call the main library at 501-918-3000, and they will be answering phones for the same time period, Monday through Saturday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., I believe, to answer kind of general questions. And it will be manned by the research desk on the second floor of our main library. And so those are reference librarians. So you'll get some good information there. Okay. So this is what I am going to attempt Oh, I'm being told via chat, thank you, Glenn, that we won't be there this Saturday, though. So it'll be Friday, and then we're going to jump to Monday, and then we'll do the rest of the week through Saturday after that. So, sorry about that. Okay, so this is what, but they will be, but they will be at Maine on Saturday. So you can call Maine on Saturday. Okay, so this is what I am going to attempt to cover in the next 45 minutes. So I'm going to try to limit what I say to 45 minutes, and then we can take the rest of the time to answer your questions, and I'll try to do the best that I can to answer them. This session is actually, these classes are actually an hour and a half long, and when it's in person, it's very one-on-one attention. So, but like I said, we're going to go back to basics. We're going to start at the beginning, and we're going to talk about everything that you could possibly need to do genealogy that's available at the Central Arkansas Library System. Okay. Now then, I'm going to do lots of slide playing, so please bear with me. So now we're going to go to a web window. And hopefully, whoops, okay, let's try that again. Hopefully everybody is seeing the front page of the Central Arkansas Library System's website. So, as you can see there, I do want to mention, nope, you're not seeing that. Let's get you there. There we go. Okay. I do want to mention real quickly, we have now suspended, I think that's outdated information. Oh, yes, we will be closed to the public, and all public programs will be suspended until May 11th. So let's get rid of that box real quick. So we have a couple of different places that you can access our resource databases, and some of them are available only through our branch libraries, and some of them are only available or can be accessed from home. So we've got two options. And we just added this chat down here at the bottom, and I hope you can see that, and you can see my cursor moving. If you need help, that chat is being manned at certain hours of the day by someone from the reference department. So you can ask questions there. And you can also email us at arkinfo, ARK-info @cals.org, and that goes directly to us at the Roberts Library. So if you want to email us your genealogy questions and other things, we can do it that way. So this is the Central Arkansas Library System's website. These are our resources. There's some resources. Yes, I will add the information from the slides to either the chat or to our website. So yes, you'll be able to get those. So we're going to scroll down to genealogy, and here is the access from the CALS main page. I wanted to show you how to get there from there. To get there, you go up here to learn, and then here to research tools A to Z. But I'm going to actually flip over to the Roberts Library website at robertslibrary.org. And you can see here that we have the genealogy databases also. I think I already had that open, but let's open it again. Okay, so here we have said basically if it's available only at CALS branches or libraries, here's those items. and if it's available from home. So real quickly, I'm going to talk about what's only available at CALS and what is actually now available for CALS card holders because of COVID-19. So just for a little while, we're going to have our stuff at home. Ancestry's Library Edition, which we'll get into more in a minute, is available to CALS card holders in good standing right now during the pandemic. You have to email an email address, and we'll talk about that in just a second, a specific email address to get access to that service. These other items that are only available in directly from our branches right now, Civil War newspapers and newspapers.com are not available at all at home. The Social Security Death Index is actually part of Ancestry's Library Edition package, so you can access that. And then from home, anytime, pandemic or no pandemic, these are the things that you can access. Some of them anybody can access. Some of them you have to have a CALS library card. But I would encourage you, if you are not a Central Arkansas resident or you're not a CALS patron, go to your home library, see what they have to offer. Most libraries in the nation have these resources available. So we have quite a few things, quite a few genealogy resources for people to use. Okay, we're going to start with Family Search. Family Search is completely free to anybody. You just have to have an account. You don't have to be a CALS card holder. You don't have to go into your library. You can do this from home. And you can get quite a few resources from Family Search. And I've watched a lot of genealogy webinars in the last couple of weeks while I've been home. And it's interesting to me, genealogists kind of prioritize. They'll go to Family Search for one kind of data, and they'll go to Heritage Quest for another, and they'll go to Ancestry for other things. So that's been kind of interesting. In Family Search, you can create a family tree to track your research, which is great. So you can create your own family tree. You can add and edit other people's family trees, which can be great. For you, it can be kind of challenging for the person who created the family tree. I've had people go in and edit family trees that I've created with wrong information, and it can be a little frustrating. So I have to go back and change it. But, I try to be nice about it. So you can access the census in the United States Census in Family Search from 1790 to 1940. 1940 is the most recent census we have access to because of privacy issues. 1890 is a limited census because there was a fire. So 1890 is extremely limited. It's kind of this void in genealogy research. There are also a number of specific state schedules, population schedules, and state censuses that were taken. For instance, New York and New Jersey did what I call half decade. So they did like 1865, 1875, 1855. And those are great for people who moved in the middle of a decade. I mean, you could have somebody start out in, the beginning of the decade as a resident of, say, New York City, and then they move in the middle of the decade, and by the end of the decade, they're back to New York City, and so you can miss some of that movement, which is so important. So searching historic records in Family Search is really quite easy. You just need to type in somebody's name, and I will say that most of the genealogy research that I have done is actually on somebody I'm not at all related to. This was my master's thesis, and so I have done her genealogy, and so my master's thesis topic, so I've done her genealogy, so I tend to go to her as a source. And everything's going to be a little slow today. We got a lot of people using computers around here. So I know that Catherine Breckenridge was born in Louisiana. She was actually born in 1853, but this is probably her. I know that in 1920 she was living with her daughter and son-in-law in North Carolina when the census was taken. She actually resided in Fort Smith then, but she was visiting them at the time, and so she was documented as being in North Carolina at that census. This is one of her granddaughters who's named for her from the 1940 census. So you can get some good information there. It's a great place to start. It's free, it's real open. And then we're going to go back to records. And we're going to go to... Oops, no, I want to go back to the home. So you can also get city directories, but they're really limited in family search. You can get continental Europe, the UK, and Ireland in family search. I'm sure y'all all heard that. That was my cat freaking out. I don't know what he's freaking out about. Okay. Let's try this. Well, now I can't remember how I got there. Sorry, I don't use family search a whole lot. The other things that you can access: military records, Arkansas Civil War, Union and Confederate service records, as well as Confederate pensions, Confederate Soldiers' Home, and the World War II draft documents, draft cards. Also, there's some probate and court records for Arkansas. Probate is from 1817 to 1979, and also some Freedmen Bureau. Okay, I'm going to actually close that window, and we're going to move on to Heritage Quest. So Heritage Quest is something that you can access at home with your library card, with your CALS library card. And so with a library card, you're going to get a step up of what you can access. So it'll have you log on. It simply asks you to put in your library card number, which is on the back of your library card. You can also find it in our app online, the library card number. Okay, so we have census records here. Same census records you can get on Family Search, you can get across all these platforms. When it comes to city directories, we've got a little bit more information. Oh my battery is dying. Okay, hang on, y'all. This is live, so give me just a second to plug in. Okay, you may not get to see my face again because I have to use a different outlet. Okay, whew, that was close. Okay, so city directories are such a great resource for so many things that we want to find out, and they're just so fun to look at, you know. So in the city directory, you can type in somebody's name and give it a minute to get some information. Now, if you notice, I usually just start with a name. And that is simply because I want to cast as wide a net as possible. If you start refining your search a whole lot, then you start getting less and less information. So we are gonna add, because there are a lot of Catherine Breckenridges, oddly enough. We're gonna add Arkansas, and we're gonna edit our search and refine it a little bit. So again, here we've got I know this is her granddaughter, because of the dates. Also, we don't have anything early enough here for any of these to be my Catherine Breckenridge. They're all too late. She died in 1921. So this is all too late. But you can see, you can search a lot of information here and get as much as possible about your relatives. And this can get those years in between censuses where you can find out where they are. And also remember, a lot of times these records are not super accurate with their spelling. You got to try a host of different spellings. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. One of the really cool things that Heritage Quest has are a census map guide. I mean, you got to love a map, right? So if you go here and you go to Arkansas, it shows you how Arkansas changed and grew over the decades. How our counties, and you can see the black lines show the counties, say in 1840, at that current map, and the white lines underneath are the current counties as we have them today, our 75 counties. So that's great. And you can see out here, Oklahoma is listed as unorganized. So that's a great resource there, the census map. And then mortality schedules are fun. I know that sounds horrible to say, but they are. So let's say 1850, and let's pick Arkansas over here in this browse collection. And then it gives you the counties that you can search by. So we'll scroll down. We're in Pulaski, so we'll scroll down to Pulaski and let it run its search. These can be hard to read, obviously. The scans are... Oops. I forgot. I have to use my arrow buttons because otherwise y'all are going to get whiplash. So it's hard to read these. That's a challenge in genealogy. But that's what the mortality schedules are. And they're basically telling you the mortality in the area. Okay. Also for Arkansas, it's always important to have an agricultural and industrial schedules. Unfortunately, in Heritage Quest, there aren't any for Arkansas. It's a limited number of states. But Heritage Quest does provide us with Freedmen's Bureau records. Let's hit home again. Okay. Freedmen's Bureau records. As well as down here, a U.S. obituary search from the 1880s on. And these are not necessarily digitized pages of the newspaper, but it tells you where obituaries are. And that's really important because people can have an obituary in far-flung places. It can show up in a lot of different places. So this will be helpful for finding obituaries, especially in really small place newspapers. Okay, now we're going to get rid of that window. And now we're going to go to the big Mamma Jamma. This is Ancestry's Library Edition. And like I said, normally... hang on, I'm getting a error on YouTube. Hang on. It says that I am not getting enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I wonder what happened. Let's see, I'm going to put in the chat, is video messing up? Okay, thank you, Amanda. Well, if it does, let me know, because YouTube is telling me it is, and I can't tell. Yes, it should be just a screenshot of the search. Okay, so Big Mama Jamma, Ancestry. So the library edition is only available in non-pandemic times at your local branch. You have to be a library card holder to access it for right now during the pandemic. So you will need to email the library system, and I just now can't remember that email address. I will get that by the end of the program, though, I promise. You will email, and they will check your account, and then they will email you back instructions on how to access it. So Ancestry has millions of records. They have digitized microfilm and other records from all over the country. They have put, so much of this is from the National Archives and Records Administration. So it is really the source for people. And I think most people, because of the commercials and everything, think of Ancestry. But as I've shown you, you've got two other sources you can go to for a lot of things. Okay. So the difference between the paid subscription to Ancestry that you would pay as an individual citizen and the library edition is, in the library edition, you cannot participate in message boards, but you can read them. You cannot create a family tree in the library edition, but you can view public member trees. So those are the two big differences. Is that you can't do some of the social interaction in the library edition that you can do if you were to pay the $14.95 a month and get your own private subscription. So we've talked about census records, but we're going to look here at these quick links down here, and this is where I go. Thank you, Glenn. What I wouldn't do without my coworkers. CALS info at CALS.org. So CALS info at CALS.org is the email address that you email if you are a CALS card holder in order to get access at home to the Ancestry Library Edition. Okay. So down here, quick links. Love this place. Because up here, you've got some search, and you can go in, you can go into the big search. And actually, let me do that real quick. So if you just click search and this window shows up here, like I said, I like to cast a wide net, and you type Catherine Breckenridge, no other information, no city, no state, nothing. This is what you get. And you right off the top you get a hit. This is her in 1920. I know that for a fact. So that is her. The next one is not, because this Catherine died in 2003. In 1930 here, this is not her. This is her granddaughter. But you can see, if I'll make that window go away, you can see how the names get spelled wrong. And that's as much from the enumerator making a mistake to the software that is indexing these things making a mistake. So you can see, you can get quite a bit of information. It'll pull up departing passenger and crew lists. Her granddaughter was a flight attendant, and so that's that. So you can see quite a bit of information. And you could go and troll through this forever and ever. But sometimes you want to go specifically, you want to organize your research in, okay, today I'm going to look at this census, or today I'm going to look at these city directories, so that you can have more of a plan. So Ancestry wrong directories. Ancestry has a ton of city directories, a lot more than any of the other platforms. And so here, you could type in a name, obviously, but then you can also go over here and click USA, and then Arkansas, and it will show you in just a second all of the city directories that have Arkansas entries, and you can see over here by the number of records that it's huge. So this one right here, the U.S. city directories from 1822 to 1995, is the queen of city directories, you could say. So here are all the towns in Arkansas that there are city directories in this search. And then once you pick a city or a county, it'll give you the years that you can look for. And then it'll give you the title. And you can click on that title and it'll take you to the directory, and you can thumb through it, so to speak, just like you were, just like a real one. You can just kind of click from page to page virtually. And these can become real rabbit holes. Just ask a friend of mine. Okay. So that's the skinny on city directories. One of the other really awesome things that Ancestry has is tax, criminal, lands, and wills. Wills and probate are so important to genealogy. It can really tell you a lot about a person. Recently, I was able to find Catherine Breckenridge's will here from Arkansas. Here it is, right here. And in it references some additional pages. She had made a itemized list of who was getting what in her house. And it references that, but it doesn't have that. It didn't have that list as part of the record, the legal record. And a couple of months back, most of her papers are at the Library of Congress, and a couple of months back, I was there, and incorrectly filed in a folder for her father-in-law, in part of his will, was this letter, or this itemized list of the items, how she was going to dole them out to friends and family and stuff like that. That was really cool, because I could piece it all together. A lot of these have been transcribed, so you don't have to worry about bad handwriting, which is always great. And so her will is fairly long, but here it is. Now, a lot of us, don't want to spend a whole lot of time staring at a screen. We don't want to, we just don't have time. I'm a big fan of the scoop and go method of research, and so I like to get as much as I can, and then when I'm in a right place in my brain, I can sit down and actually go through it and process it all. So this is great for that. Send document. So you can click on this and you can type in your email address. Whoops. Oh, there we go. And then usually I cut and paste, because obviously I can't type my own email address well. I always send Breckenridge stuff to this email account. So it'll say, look, it's successfully sent. So here, from the other day in my Gmail, I have a list of discovery page, and you can view your discoveries by clicking on View Your Discoveries. Now, here is one of the challenges that I find with this wonderful resource, is that when you go to view your discoveries, it's going to include every discovery you have ever made from Ancestry, in your life of Ancestry, to this email address. So it is a crazy long list. So I have learned that when I do this, then I have to go in and process those items as quickly as possible into my records. So how I do that, and let me show you this real quick, and this would be a whole nother webinar. So here is that document that I sent to myself. And now I am going to send it to my Evernote. Evernote is a great tool for organizing your stuff. I leave the name the same. I send it on. You may not have been able to see that. And now we're going to switch over to my Evernote window. I'm not going to really search for it, but there it is. Actually, that was really easy. And so here it is, and I can change the title of this. I can make information here, and I can also annotate it. Annotate the PDF itself. Whoops, that's not annotation. Annotate this image. So I can go in and highlight things. This is a great resource. That's a terrible highlighting job. But you can see this is a great resource. Okay, so back to other things. Okay. There we go. We should be back on the Ancestry window, My Discoveries. So if we're not, somebody let me know. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that though real quickly. Okay. So you can see here some other things, and I'm just going to go through these really quickly. Schools, directories, and church histories. There are church histories and records from Arkansas in there. Again, church histories can be so important. They can give you information you can't get anywhere else. And then in maps and atlases, here, maps, atlases, and gazetters, you can get the U.S. numeration district maps and descriptions, definitely from 1940. And those are always cool to look at. So one of the important things to think about when you're searching in any of these platforms is how the person would have identified themselves or been recorded. So, for instance, with women, Catherine Carson Breckenridge. So she was, before her marriage, she was Catherine Breckenridge Carson. After her marriage, she is Catherine Carson Breckenridge. She is often referred to in newspapers as MRS C.R. Breckenridge by her husband's name, Clifton Rhodes Breckenridge. So think about that. Then you have to deal with the issue of the misspelling to play. You just have to play and have fun. Okay, I promise we're going to get to fire maps soon. Fold 3 is military, and you can get all kinds of records here. Draft cards for World War II. My maternal grandfather was John Harold Alston. You do not have to capitalize things. It'll look for it anyway. Oh! I don't know what that is. Oh, it might not like that I'm... Let's try that again. Give it one more try. Maybe it'll cooperate. Looky there. It played nice. Okay, so he comes right up, right at the top. Okay, I guess I'm not in my account from work, but if you were to click on this, then you would see his draft card. The other thing that is really great, I think, you can browse by war, obviously, over here on the side. And under the Civil War, you can look at Southern claims. And Southern claims are important because these are people who petitioned the United States government after the war ended to say, I want my stuff back, and I was a loyal American. I was not part of the Confederacy. And these are transcripts, handwritten transcripts of these court battles, and it's fascinating to see people, and most of the time they're lying. It's great. Okay. So please take advantage of Fold 3. If you're a CALS card holder, you can go into it, put your barcode number, your library card number into the field, and it will work for you. I promise. It worked for me earlier. I guess I didn't get it saved right. Okay. Now, fire insurance maps. This might be my favorite thing in all of these databases. I love fire insurance maps. They can tell you so much about a place. The Central Arkansas Library System only has the subscription for Arkansas because these are crazy expensive to have. And so we do have Arkansas, and it's great. So you can go to this interactive map and you can click on a place. Well, let's get it closer to Little Rock. Let's get down in there. So, whoop, maybe not that far. Okay, let's do it this way because it's easier. Go over here to the search. And you'll select a state. Arkansas is your only option because that's what we have. And you can see here that the database maps for publishers such as Sanborn, I think that's probably the one that is most, people think of Sanborn fire insurance maps, but there were actually a number of companies that did fire insurance maps. So you can see all these companies are here. And then you scroll down to Little Rock or wherever you want to look. And here are all of the fire insurance maps that are in the database and digitized for Little Rock. So we'll go to the oldest one, 1886. And you can see here, over here on the left is an index of photos, thumbnails of photos. This very first photo, in most cases, is an index of the entire map that you're about to look at. And so these zones here, which are numbered, let's zoom in. So we've got 2, we've got 3, we've got 12, we've got 4. Those should, and should is, I'm stressing should there, those should correspond to the number in the corner. And in this case, it does. Yay! So here we can see in 1886 what was around what's now the old State House. At that time, it was the state capital of Arkansas. And so here in this section in part 80, or maybe that's 8 if I'm reading it upside down, I don't know. This thing here, this is where the Marriott or the Excelsior Hotel stands now. The Capitol Hotel would be right here and should be right there now. At this time, in 1886, I can't remember exactly when it opened. Here's an opera house. So you can see a lot of cool things. And it gives you lots of information about the construction of the building. Each map will have a legend that tells you, here we go, here's the key. It tells you what different things, see, buildings colored yellow are frame. Red, they're brick. Blue, they're stone. Gray, they're iron. So you can get a lot of information, not only about the construction of the building, but about the streets. So, love fire insurance maps. You could do a whole thing on fire insurance maps. Okay, but that's all we're going to get. Sorry. So for newspapers, right now, newspapers.com, which is an affiliate of Ancestry or owned by Ancestry, is not accessible outside of a library building. And right now you can't go into library buildings. So this is a great alternative. Library of Congress's Chronicling America is historic American newspapers. And so we're kind of recommending it in place of newspapers.com for right now. Again, think about your search. When you're searching, you want to think about how the person would have identified themselves or how officially they would have been identified. For example, Catherine Breckenridge's husband was a major, and so he would have been sometimes referred to as Major Clifton Rhodes Breckenridge or Major C.R. Breckenridge. Again, cast a wide net and kind of start to see how the newspapers talk about them, and then you can narrow by location or lifespan. So let's just look. You don't want to use quotes around it. Quotes aren't going to get you a more exact search. So if I look for Catherine Breckenridge, I get 16 million pages where Catherine or Breckenridge are in the pages. But if I go and look for Mrs. C.R. Breckenridge, whoops. You see, I did that last night, it remembers. It's thinking. It's really thinking. If it thinks too long, we're going to move on. I think it may be thinking too long. Let's give it one more try. Nope, not going to work. Okay, so, oh, look, there, it did. Oh, it knew I was talking bad about it. So, I thought when I did this last night, I mean, look at the second one. My gosh, there's Mrs. and C's and R's and Breckenridge's all over the page. So, but I thought, well, let's just click on this one and see if, maybe. And sure enough, okay, hang on. Let me get my arrow keys going here. You can move over here, move your little window down. And there, the very first one says, at the foot of the black casket was tastefully arranged an array of flowers bearing the card of Mr. and Mrs. C.R. Breckenridge. And this is a funeral for, let's go that way. This is a funeral for a former senator. So the Daily Tobacco Leaf Chronicle for May 7th, 1890. It's a really great resource from the Library of Congress. And it's free to anybody, anywhere. You can just use it. Okay, Bureau of Land Management. You can access this through our Roberts Library resources that I showed you earlier. So you go here to Genealogy Databases, and then you click on Explore Databases. And when you go to the databases, it's going to be one of the top ones because it's a B. And you click on Bureau of Land Management, and it takes you here. Land is so important to the development of this country. Who owns it, who you sell it to, what happens to it. And so this is a great resource, free to anybody to use. It's open to anybody. And you search documents. Probably behind Fire Insurance Maps. This is my second favorite database. And Catherine Breckenridge's father owned a whole lot of land in Louisiana. And so I can say Louisiana, and I can type in his name. And his middle initial is G, his middle name is Green, but I'm going to leave it off because I, again, want to cast a wide net. And I'm going to search. There's quite a few James Carsons. That's not going to be an unusual name. But I can see pretty quickly this James Carson, that's after his death, but it still might be in his name. That happened a lot. This one here is just right before his death, right before the war. This one here, James G. Carson, it's right before Catherine's born. It's in East Carroll Parish, that's where they lived, so I'm pretty sure that's it. But I also wanted to look the other day, and this James H. Carson, I really think that this is him. So you go to this, and it shows you a map. This doesn't help me a whole lot, but if I go to the patent image, you can see here is the document. Now this says James H. Carson. I don't know. I kind of think it's him. I'll have to do some more research and check that out. But you can see the actual document. You can get a certified copy, obviously, by adding it to your cart. But if you don't need a certified copy, this will do. And then go to related documents. And over here you have the patents, and you have surveys, and you have the LSR, which I can never remember what that means. And you have the CDI, again, never remember what it means, because most of the time they can't find the records. So, but you can go to the track book. You click on what's highlighted. And here's the track book. And go over here to book image. And there is the track book. Now, this gives all kinds of great information. Let's get up to the... There we go. We don't want it that big. So, acres, name of the purchaser, the actual tract information. Well, let's go that way. There we go. Acres, dollar, the amount per acre, who purchased it, the date of the sale. I mean, just chock-a-block full of all kinds of great information. And most of the time, these are fairly legible. Thank you for good penmanship, people. Okay. So that is all of the databases that we offer, or that I wanted to show you today, I guess. There are other databases. Please always check out the Encyclopedia of Arkansas. You'd be amazed what you can find there. We have everything from, I have to put a plug in for the EOA. You'd be amazed what you can find there, from famous people to infamous people to ribbon worms to we'll have a COVID-19 entry. So all kinds of fun things. So I am ready to answer some questions, and let's see if I can, let's see if I got enough juice to unplug and plug myself back in. Nope, I don't. Well, you're just going to get to hear my voice. You won't get to hear my face. See my face. I'm so sorry. I'm totally joking there. Okay. Are any of the Hot Springs newspapers in this database at the Library of Congress? Megan asks. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look. Okay, let's do it this way. It'll be easier. I was hoping it would remember that I had been there. I'm a big fan of the Library of Congress. Well, see, I shouldn't have closed that link. Let's try it this way. There we go. Okay. That's one thing I had written down, and I'm sorry I skipped that. If you go here to all digitized newspapers, and you click on that tab, and then you go over here to state, and you go to Arkansas, and you click go, you can scroll through and see. I would be shocked if there's not a Hot Springs newspaper in here. Unfortunately, I don't see one right off the top. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't have their name. Oh, there's one right there. The Sentinel Record, Hot Springs, Arkansas, from 1900 to current. And sorry, let me scroll back up here at the top. You can see here, it tells you the state, the name of the newspaper, the browse. You can browse the issues by clicking on this, how many issues, what the earliest issue is, the latest. So there can be a gap in them, I will tell you that. So don't assume if it says earliest and latest that it's a complete run. Fires happen, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the Sentinel Record, and let's go there and see what it says. Well, thank you, Megan. I think this is cool too. I have lots of fun with this stuff. Well, let's try that again. There we go. Now it hit. Okay. Wow, that's an interesting condition on that newspaper right there. So once you get in here and you see, you can click on this calendar view, and the dates in bold are the dates that they have. Now also remember that not every newspaper in the world is a daily. There are weekly, there are monthly newspapers, especially some of the smaller county newspapers are only going to run like every month, every 2 weeks or something like that. So you can see here in the bold that it has lots of issues in October and November of 2009. Makes you wonder if there wasn't a fire somewhere in before then. Okay, let's go back. And then you can also look at all the front pages, which is kind of cool. I mean, sometimes, really all you want to see is the front page. And it's so great because you can zoom in and really get a look at it. I love how they have this little box up here where you can go around and around. It's just a great database. So yeah, play with that. Let's see. Glenn answered Amanda's question that it's CALS, CALS info at CALS.org to get access to Ancestry from Home for CALS card holders in good standing. Anybody got any other questions? Well, if you have additional questions, you can always call us now. The number to call is, I'll put it in the chat, is 501, oops, I don't want to dash, 501-320-5700. And that's the Roberts Library. And that's starting Friday. Oh, I'm glad, Amanda. Amanda says she learned new info today, and I'm really glad about that because she works at the Old State House Museum. I don't know, you may not have wanted me to tell people that, Amanda, but she does, and so I always like it when someone who knows a lot can learn something. And feel free to email us also for your genealogy questions at ArcInfo. Man, I can't type today. Actually, I can't type most days. ArcInfo@CALS.org. You can ask us questions there, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. It may take a day or two, so please be realistic on that. Well, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and it'll be the same thing on Monday, but if you want to come back, you're more than welcome to. I might add something new by then. I might do some more research over the weekend. So have a great day. Everybody stay safe, wash your hands, do all that good stuff, and we'll see you soon.